Hello, welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Parkin. How are you doing, Parky?
Yeah, not bad, Rob, not bad. Midweek now. We're getting on for the weekend, so I start looking forward again. Try and forget about what happened last week. Everything's good. We're just chugging along as ever with life. The weather's taken a turn, which is not ideal, but hopefully we'll get that sun back because it was beautiful for a few days. Everything's good. How's your week going?
Yeah, it started off bad. I had a leaky toilet. Well, first of all, the toilet wouldn't flush, so then I got an emergency plumber out to fix that, and then he fixed the flush, but then I don't know whether I've told you before, I had a leaky toilet previously, which leaked into my kitchen and created like a hole in my kitchen roof and ceiling, and it started leaking again. So brought him back, said you fixed one problem but caused another, and then he's come back and fixed it now. So no leaks, toilet's flushing superbly, and all is well again.
Yeah, you got to be careful, aren't you? I know what you mean. We had a few problems bathroom-wise over the last few years. And it does seem that once you fix one, something else goes wrong.
Yeah.
But, good, you got it sorted. Not
to be fair, Parker, it was a horror show because it happened previously, which created the hole.
Yeah.
And I had a plumber come out and he couldn't find the leak. He couldn't. It was either he didn't know whether it was in my toilet or whether it was under my bath. So that's why he cut a hole in my ceiling to have a look. Still couldn't find it. Said to me, I'll have a think about it and come back to you. 2 weeks later, didn't hear from him. Tried to ring him. Phone was dead. No number. Yeah. So it was one of them. But all is well. I've got a hole in my kitchen ceiling. But I'm thinking about having like a little kind of like flap so it doesn't look odd. Won't go anywhere. Just if anyone's watching, you know what I mean, or looking.
Any builders out there?
Yeah. So that was all the fun of the fair for this week. So lots to talk about on the show this week, Parker. We've got look back at the Wigan Challenge Cup defeat. Look back at the fantastic win for our ladies against Featherstone Lionesses. Got all the big news coming out of the club this week, and then we're going to preview the game against Wakefield on Sunday. So we'll start with a Challenge Cup defeat against Wigan.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So, Salford are out of the Challenge Cup, Parker. They were defeated by Wigan Warriors. What do you think? Obviously, disappointing result. We wanted a cup run, but unfortunately, we're out.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing overall was we're out with a whimper. Really, we didn't really compete, did we? In what was a very dull game from both sides. There was no excitement really, and we were way off the pace. I think I don't know what it was. I mean, it was always going to be tough going to Wigan, but they're synonymous with it. It's their thing. They don't, like I said last week, they don't lose many, they don't concede many, and oddly they didn't concede any. But maybe because we were pretty impotent in attack. I think we kept getting near their line, but we didn't seem to have a plan. It was panic football. There was no case of trying to build pressure on them. It was we let them off every time by dropping the ball or throwing out a silly pass. And you watch Wigan, they don't excite you, but what they do is everything is virtually perfect. They don't make mistakes, or very rarely. And when they got the chance on our line, they built a little bit of pressure, but they didn't instantly have to go over. They didn't have to score straight away. They knew that if they built something would break. And I give our defence a little bit of credit because on our line we seem to hold them out for quite a while at times. But overall, very disappointing, especially with the Challenge Cup. We all want a decent run, but there was just too many non-performances, I think, and when you think through the team, and I know we'll obviously talk about it later, as in man of the match, but it was hard to pick anyone out who actually had a good game or stood out for us. There was probably one or two maybe, but overall, limp, lifeless. Yeah, very disappointing overall. And like you say, we've crashed out without really trying.
Yeah, it reminded him a lot of last season's game against Wigan. We just kind of trying to grind it out, but we just didn't look like we were going to score. 15 errors. Paul Rowley was seething about that. He kind of says that if you can't afford to turn over that much ball, and I kind of have to agree with him. If you're turning over that kind of ball and you're absorbing attacks from Wigan, you're not going to have anything in the tank left to go. But I wasn't sure whether it was sort of bad ball handling or was it bad we'll call it GPI, game play intelligence. But every time we got up there, we either threw it in touch or we got dumped into touch or just didn't seem to ask questions, and I couldn't quite figure out which one it was.
Oddly enough, I think both. I think every week so far I've said that our passing at times is terrible in games. The amount of ball that goes to ground, even if we still pick the ball up and play on, the ball hits the floor before it gets to the man. There's a lot of that. I don't know what that is. I mean, that's basics, and that's where I go about Wigan being perfect. They won't do that. That's not something they do. But then when we did have the chance on their line, there was no, I don't know, we were no threat, were we? We didn't look dangerous, didn't look like a plan. And I know, obviously, we've mentioned a few times that Paul Rowley wants the lads to sort of play what they see and off the cuff a little bit. But you do need a plan. There has to be something to work from. And I think that lacks, certainly at times in the first half when we had, a little, the chances we had, we just didn't seem to, like you say, it just seemed to be made up. And then, but the other players didn't know what the other player was going to do. There was kicks going through and passes going wide when, players were coming short onto a ball and he just seemed to miss them out. It was just all very erratic in attack. Defensively, I know we conceded 20, but it's not a huge amount of points realistically away at Wigan for the amount of ball. Like you say, that's 15 extra sets we've given them to do something with the ball. So to only concede 20, we actually didn't do that bad. But that's because Wigan aren't a massive threat. I know I said to you after the game, and I might mention it to Paul, that when you watch Saints Helens, when you're playing them, as soon as Saints get the ball, you think, something could happen here. They're going to tear us apart, or this could happen. You don't get that with Wigan. They slowly build into a game and just control things, and that's what they did again. And we just could get a foothold then. And like you say, our attack was non-existent, and that's what's proven by scoring no points.
Yeah, was disappointing, as to be said. But it's a bit of a conundrum really, because obviously now James Greenwood's out for a long time. He's injured. So it's going to be interesting to see what Paul Rowley does. Joined by Paul Whiteside. Paul, you spoke to Paul Rowley. Wasn't sort of very happy about the performance Friday.
No, good evening, lads. Hope you're both okay. No, he wasn't very happy. I wasn't very happy, Rob, to be honest with you. I was trying to think of some words to describe it, and I thought it was a bit pathetic, really. I thought the attitude was a bit of a problem. Do you know what? Don't want to mention any names here, but I spoke to a few people in the week and before the game, and there was a word that was said to me, and you guys might have heard this. It's a free hit. This game, it's a free hit. And as soon as I heard that, I thought, if the players have got that attitude, who else is saying that? The Challenge Cup's not a free hit. It's the Challenge's most prestigious cup competition in rugby league. And to me, I think we went there thinking, we'll just coast through this game and see how it goes. And to me, we didn't look like a side that was hungry to win a cup game. And I mean, when Wakefield play Wigan in the quarterfinals, I tell you what, Wigan will get a cup tie because Wakefield will bash the hell out of them because they'll fancy themselves now to win that. And I didn't think Wigan got out of first gear, really. They didn't need to. I mean, I know Paul Rowley said we looked after that Jai field, and we did, but that allowed them to move the ball, and they got joy with other players. I think they got the tactics right, Wigan, there, really. They sort of took the limelight off him and let other people do the business. So I thought it was a disappointing display. And I don't think we'd have scored if we'd have played all night, because we never looked like scoring. I think there was the one chance for Reece Williams. You can't blame Reece Williams. A bit of an half chance. Ball went out wide, so he got bundled in touch. Other than that, I didn't think we created anything. So no, I was
free play, Parky. I thought for a minute I'd have to use Ryan Wilkinson's bleeper then for a second. Would you describe it as a as a free play?
No, I agree with what Paul said. I don't think any game is any competitive game. It's not so much a free hit. In the old days, I know we've still got relegation, but back, 20, 30 years ago, and you had a cup game coming up, but you were fighting for survival, you possibly see that you may have to look past that cup game because it's not going to do you any favours. And long term, it might not have done us any favours. But it's still early in the season. There's no reason not to put everything into that performance. Get yourself through to the next round, and who knows? You might have got a home tie against a winnable team. But there again, have we got the squad, as was proven again the other night, to go that one extra game? That's the only flip side positive I can possibly make out of the whole game. And there was nothing else in it, nothing for us. We didn't prove anything. We did. If I'm coaching and I've watched that performance, I'm rubbing my hands for this weekend because I'm thinking we've got nothing, absolutely nothing going forward. They're not going to trouble us. So no, there's no free hits, is there? And it's, I suppose the only chance you could say that is, if we were playing, I don't know, West Wales, Swinton obviously thumped last weekend. I mean, that's the only time you're ever going to get that kind of thing. It's crazy talk, really. And like Paul said, it could easily get in the players' minds. If it gets mentioned, it's a free hit. If we get beat, nobody's expecting to win. That's not the point, being expected to win. To go out and try and win, that's the key. But no, it's just one of them days that you write off and get rid of it and try and, well, I've tried to forget about it already. It was a nothing performance and in an absolutely nothing game, as it turned out. And it's a shame, but we'll have to wait till next year now for the cup.
Like Paul Rowley joins me, probably not a lot to write home about tonight, really. You must be disappointed. Challenge Cup, prestigious trophy, and we're out in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. Just I'm disappointed if we win any game, but obviously you get an opportunity with a Challenge Cup to get pick up a trophy with you're winning 4 games. So, but you don't get any tougher questions than coming to Wigan away. It was a tough draw. And we knew we had to play tough. So and whilst we tried 100% and give 100%, I just think we just weren't tough enough. Certainly in the middle we got rolled and we give away too much possession. I think 14 or 15 errors in the game, which you won't beat any team, let alone Wigan away.
Yeah, like you said, too many errors and things like that. You did give Wigan an awful lot there. I mean, they sort of did the basics right tonight. You didn't really have a lot of chances and really disappointing evening, really.
Well, yeah, they did the basics. That were it. I think that was the story of the night. That Wigan just played real tough, did the basics well, and whilst we played tough and we spilled too much ball. It's just nothing more simple than that. Really. I don't think it was the most entertaining game in the world, but they played tough and rolled us in the middle. So we did positives there. We defended really well on edges, and we've done that lots of times this season, so nothing new there. So there's lots of positives, but the better team won.
I know you're not a doctor, Paul, but James Greenwood, he looks in a bit of a bad way. He was on crutches. Is he going to be looking at quite a long, significant time out now?
Yeah, it'll be a lengthy layoff. Whatever it'll be a lengthy one. It won't be a week, so it'll be more in the months. So that's both back rowers gone now.
I'm not going to go into the details of the tackle because I didn't really see it myself. I'd have to watch it back, but James Greenwood, he's not had a lot of luck with injuries, has he, last few years? You've got to feel sorry for the lad. He must be devastated there.
Yeah, gutted for James, obviously. I think he's managed a run of 3 in the last 2 years has been the maximum he's got to. So, it's really unfortunate for him.
Wakefield Trinity away next Sunday. They seem to be turning a bit of a corner. Had a good win at Warrington last week. Another tough game for you. It doesn't get easy in Super League, does it?
They're all tough, so it's it's whoever we play, it's tough, and we are where we are. So unfortunately we've not got the resource of some of our neighbours, like today, like Wigan and stuff. So we can't buy our way out of trouble. So we've got to bounce back and stay optimistic and enthusiastic and put everything into each and every week. So we'll take everything a week by week, but we can't disrespect anybody because we're not in a position to do that. So Wakefield, like I said, have come off a great win, and there's plenty of personnel in their team who can do some serious damage. So we need to be good, and it's a big game.
Before I let you go, next week, Ken Seal, is he back next week?
He'll be available, yeah.
How's Callum Watkins as well?
He's doing great, but he's one of them. He's a time scale with Callum, so whilst he looks like and probably feels like he could play, he's 4 or 5 weeks off yet.
And Harvey Levett's become a bit of a forgotten man as well.
Yeah.
Any updates on Harvey? How's he getting on?
4 or 5 weeks. So if it continues to go to plan, but he's had a setback at every stage, so minimum 4 or 5 weeks. But fingers crossed. That's if it just runs smooth from here on in.
Thanks very much for speaking to us, Paul.
No worries. Cheers.
See you next week, mate.
Thank you.
So that was Paul Rowley talking to yourself, Paul, and obviously disappointed with the result.
Yeah, he was. I didn't think I'd get that long out of him, to be honest. I was listening to when we went in the press conference, some of the questions that were asked in the press conference, I don't know where they come up with, these journalists, but you could see. I mean, I'm not going to go at your questions, Rob. Yours weren't bad, but some of the questions the Wigan coach got were a bit strange, but because he looked like he was falling asleep, the Wigan coach, didn't he? But no, Paul Rowley was pretty angry. I thought he was. I think he was disappointed, and you can see that, with the passion in him. When I spoke to him, I tried to keep it a bit upbeat. I didn't really want to talk about the Tommy Luluai incident because I'd not seen it, and I've still not seen it. So, someone asked him that in the press conference, and he's not going to comment on that because it's controversial, isn't it? So, I just felt for James Greenwood, really, because he's had that much trouble with injury, and the lad's probably going to miss the season now. And you start thinking, well, he's not getting any younger. How long has he got in his career? Something like that can sometimes finish your career. So I was absolutely gutted for him. But no, gutted for Paul Rowley, gutted for the supporters as well, who made the trip. And to go out 20-0, it's disappointing, isn't it? To not score a try. So yeah, Paul Rowley's rightly disappointed.
Yeah, for me, he puts his bumpers up when we've lost at a press conference. He's not really wants to sort of entertain sort of what will go on. He's very sort of black and white in that way for me, Paul. But yeah, I suppose he's going to be able to put that way now and move forward, ready for the next one.
Yeah, he didn't like what you said, did he?
Well,
right, sorry, Paul. What did he say He said about it being what was the word he said?
Puffed and puffed.
Which is what we did. He didn't like that, did he?
To be honest, though, I think we did. We grafted, right? If we'd have folded and lost 40-0 and we weren't that bothered, I'd have said, that would have been a question. But for me, they played the sets, didn't look like they were going to score, but the youngin, and as a supporter, obviously we didn't look like we were going to score, but it could have been a lot worse considering the amount of ball that Wigan had. So for the players, worked hard, but no end product.
I actually don't think it's that bad of a question. It huffed and puffed and sums up our attack. We just didn't blow the house down, did we? We didn't do anything. We didn't knock a Wigan player over.
No.
I don't think it's that bad of a question. The thing about what I find with Paul Rowley is that he won't get too excited when we win.
No.
Won't go over the top when we get beat. He could, bring players out and say, well, he was rubbish and he didn't do this, or the week later say he's a great player. There's no point, putting the players down. He's not going to do anyone any favours. He's got 20-odd players to work with, not even that now with the injuries. He's got to try and keep spirits good in the camp and just, like I said last week, on a Monday morning when he gets them in training, I'm sure he lets them know what he really thinks. Yeah. But there's no point telling the rugby league world that, so-and-so had a stinker or the team were useless and they're not listening to me and, that's no good to anyone. And I understand that he's probably a bit defensive, and I suppose when he gets asked some questions, he probably feels they're aimed at him personally, and his coaching techniques or something like that. He's been doing the job for long enough. He knows knows the game. He doesn't need his professional, attributes sort of questioning in many ways. Yeah, every coach gets it. I'm sure, I don't know, the best coach in the world get picked on every now and then. But I think people just need to maybe realise sometimes where we are. And he'll be as frustrated as anyone that, we haven't got a pack. We haven't got a big pack of forwards. He'd love 2 or 3 big forwards to come into the squad, but it's not going to happen. And then people ask him about, well, your forwards didn't compete. And what's he going to say? No, they didn't. They were rubbish. He's not doing anyone any favours. So I understand his frustration, but like you said earlier, Rob, when you've given the ball over to the opposition 15 times, I think he did well not to blow his top, to be honest.
Yeah, you are right there, Parkin. Like he said, he's an experienced coach, isn't he? So he's on this sort of this press merry-go-round millions of times, and I suppose he's probably answered every question under the sun in his career. So he's, he suppose in a way they get kind of bored, I suppose, coaches, Paul, really, because I've noticed they get the same questions every week, really.
Yeah, they do. You just try and vary stuff, haven't you? I think you just have to try and know how to work them and try and entice them in a bit. I know there was a journal in there who was asking a Wigan coach a few things. It was like, are you excited about this? Are you excited? I thought, well, I don't know. You're just asking him lame things here a bit, really. Aren't you? Don't give him an easy right. Ask him something. You can't ask him something interesting. I'm not. You do, Rob. You're usually all right. I just felt a bit sorry for you when he jumped on you a bit there when you said about huffing and puffing, and I thought, no, I agree with Rob. I thought they did, but no. He's tough. He's tough after defeating the press conference when you've got everybody staring at you. And I think he handles it pretty well, Paul Rowley, compared to some coaches sort of go off, don't they? I was listening to Darryl Powell at the weekend, and he's under pressure, and it Warrington blind some of the questions he was getting asked. So no, this week for me now is a big week for us against Wakefield. It's a massive game now. You're playing a game, a team that's below you in the table. And now the pressure's on a bit, really. Now you have to deliver in this game, don't you? So we'll see what sort of reaction we get this week from the players, really. Paul Rowley can only do so much in training. His players have got to take responsibility now and do the business for him.
Yeah, big thanks for your 3-word match reports, man of the matches. Gary Williams, stop running sideways, Cross. Stuart Smart, poor attack, Taylor. Martin, wrap up players, Brody, Croft. Arthur Bollard, ruck control again, Croft. I said tactical loss backfired, King V. Ben Wheeler, too many errors, Brody, Croft. KDL, handling errors, silent assassin, Croft. Paul Foster, schoolboy errors, Croft. James Hoskinson, your mate, Paul, needs more creativity, Croft. Mark, poor effort, Cross. Colin Wilson, no cutting edge, Croft. Matt Carr, keep the faith, Brody, Croft. Steve Orwin, not good enough. Andy Lancashire, no end product, Andy Ackers. And Stephen, very poor defence, Croft. I don't think we can say poor defence, Parky, after we've turned over 15 sets. But it is what it is. We move on.
Yeah, like I said before, I think defended okay considering the amount of ball we give them, and a lot of scramble on our line and that kind of thing. So we kept them down to 20 points. My only fear is if we'd have played a more attacking team, i.e. St. Helens or even, I know Warrington have a bad time, but they can attack you, or a Catalan, we might have conceded 40 or 50. That's the only thing, but that's due to weight of pressure more than the defence itself. And again, for me, that a lot of that comes down. We lose contact again. We did a lot of that. Their first try came off a very, very poor attempted tackle under our sticks. Again, there's no size. We haven't got the bulk, and we need a little bit more effort, but we definitely need more size, and that's not helping us defensively. But overall, like you say there, I just looked at that, and obviously Croft comes out easily man of the match for the fans at the moment. But other than that, as I said earlier, there was no more than 2 or 3 players that came out of any credit, really. So, tough one this week for everybody.
Yeah. So we move on. We're out the cup, but we move on and hopefully find a bit of form and go for a playoff spot. Let's talk. Let's get positive now. Parker. And let's talk about Salford Devils ladies. They faced Featherstone Lionesses on Sunday and won 80 points to 0 away from home. Fantastic result for Chris Bates ladies.
Absolutely unbelievable. I had the honour and pleasure of watching it online through the referee cam, which was a new one on me. Some very dodgy refereeing and all, by the way. Brilliant, unbelievable. The professionalism and the skill of these ladies is incredible. Honestly, anybody who thinks it's a gimmick or it's something, you've got to watch this. It was phenomenal. I was expecting a tough test. You know, the Featherstone Lionesses have been around for a while. They've had quite a bit of success, really. You're away from home at that part of Yorkshire. It's never going to be easy. You know, hostile fans behind you as well. We just tore them apart. It looks so easy. These girls have played, 5 games now together? You'd think they've been together for years. It was, everything was so polished. You know, the passing, the tackling, the gang tackling is unbelievable. Every time a Featherstone player got the ball, 2 or 3 girls went in and put her down, usually pushed them backwards. Featherstone couldn't get out of their own half a lot of the time, except for the odd penalty that, again, I was a bit unsure about what I was watching, but there was quite a few of them. I don't know if he was levelling up or what, but no, honestly, the performances from these girls it's at another level. It really is. I think I've not seen a lot of the teams that are in the Championship that will play this year, but from what I've seen, Salford are a Super League team. I heard the referee at one point asking one of our guys who's bringing the kicking tee on for the 700th time or whatever it was, and he said, you know, he was going about, you know, you played together and this, that, and the other. And you could tell in his voice he was amazed that they'd only played together competitively a few times. Just phenomenal. Every single one of them is incredible. Some of the tries, I mean, you can catch it still online, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Tries. Honestly, if they're scored by St. Helens in the Super League or Melbourne in the NRL, people don't stop going on about them. They're just brilliant, and every single player in that team seemed to know their role. They were talking all the time, which is something I've mentioned that our first team don't always do. You know, very, very quiet. The girls were shouting to each other, encouraging each other. You know, and there was a real togetherness and a fantastic result. 80 points to 0. I mean, come on, that doesn't happen a lot. It's tough to score tries in rugby league. To score as many as we did is incredible.
Yeah, Mad Rugby Dad is the Facebook page if you want to get on there and watch our ladies. Going through the try scorers, Lucy Mckeown scored 7 tries. Steph Gray got 2. Demi Jones got 2. Louise Fellingham got 1. Lauren Ellison got 1. And Olivia Mia got 1 as well. So, like Parky said, outstanding stuff. There was a point where I think it was Olivia Mia's try where Demi Jones goes on a kind of a runaround move. And I was thinking to myself, if Mark Sneed does that and feeds Laffey and he goes over in the corner, people are passing out in the stands. It was unbelievable, really. So, you know, it's creation. It's, I say, GPI, gameplay intelligence, you know, for me, it was off the scale, really. There was obviously standout performance for me, Parker. Tasmin Coran, the hooker, busy round the ruck. Darcy Price, proper goal forward, sort of skittling Featherstone Lionesses players every time she got it. And Yasmin Parton Sotomayor, we'll call her YSP for short. She was outstanding on the edge, you know, causing all kinds of chaos in that Featherstone defence. And, you know, Chris Bates was really impressed, but obviously it's a big job for him keeping the ladies' feet on the ground.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, the girls you mentioned there were superb. There was other big performances. What the difference between watching the men's game on the Friday and watching that was the forwards went forward.
Yeah.
With space for the backs to do what they do. And like you say there, Lucy coming up with 7 tries in 80 minutes. I mean, from fullback, you think you're imagining it. But they created the space. I mean, some of the tries she scored herself, some of them she was put through by just, backing up and following and knowing that ball's going to come out, knowing what that player's attributes are and that they've got an offload or this is what's, the game plan was there. Just unbelievable performance. And like you say, the hooker was unbelievable. It was tremendous hooker. I'd say I think the loose forward was excellent. And the halfbacks just combined so well and guided the team around. There was a definite plan. And like I say, everyone knew what they were doing. And just so encouraging to see. And I can't wait to see more of it now.
Yeah, I spoke to Chris Bates after the game. This is what he had to say. So I'm joined by Chris Bates, head coach of the ladies team. All right, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me again. Can't believe you've had me twice in a week.
Yeah, congratulations on a fantastic win against Featherstone Lionesses this week. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, 8-0 kind of result speaks for itself a little bit. Story of the game, I think the game probably started a little bit beforehand. I kind of talked to you off air about how professionally the girls conducted themselves, and it was fantastic, So we turned up at a ground over in Fev at the community kind of side of the club, with a real presence about us. So we forever push the girls to be professional. We forever talk about how the club have bought into us, and made sure that we've got all the stuff we need to be that professional. And I think they were looking at us walking into the change rooms, all in matching gear, all in kind of, as a group, thinking, hey, up, these might be the real deal. And I genuinely think that helped us start the game strong. The pressure then comes to kind of keep that momentum up. So, we scored quite quickly. And then we kind of managed to get a bit of a roll on, and we go in at 28-0. And then in the second half, we were really clear at half time. A good team probably wins that game, I don't know, 34-10, something like that, switches off a little bit in the second half, but gets the job done. A great team pushes on and is ruthless. And we didn't feel we quite managed to do that against Wigan St Pat's, but we challenged them to here and scored 52 points in that second half. And if anybody's if anybody's listened to any of the stuff I've said, then it's been about us playing with our heads up, and we hit them all over the park. You look at, I know Lucy popped up with 7 tries, and she'll get all the plaudits she rightly deserves with that. But those tries were all over the park. Some were individual efforts. Some were her walking over from 5 metres because she's hit shape in the right place in different areas of the field. So I was just delighted with it from start to finish.
Yeah, I was going to mention Lucy Mckeown. Obviously, like you said, 7 tries. Like you said, different tries every time. There was sort of long distance runs. There was times when she was on the shoulder of a forward going through, and that's you can't teach that. That's just class.
Yeah, she's a really natural rugby player. This is her 3rd game of rugby league. She played on the wing
right.
against Wigan. Yeah, she played on the wing for us against Wigan. She played at fullback covering for Erin at no notice against Pats, and then she jumped into fullback with a bit of training. And all we'd done on the Wednesday before was just about all of our shape really is built around putting a fullback in space. So we want to kind of give that fullback a decision to make, ideally a 3-on-2 with lots of space. And then we ask our fullback to make a decision. They can run, they can kick, they can throw a cutout ball, they can hit the centre on a line, whatever. We ask them to try and be creative there. And I just think it suits her. So she plays with her head up. She's really kind of focused on trying to make sure this ship fits into the group. And you know what? She's humble as well. So I've never scored 7 tries in a game, but you wouldn't hear the last of it. I'd be murdered to live with, but she was almost kind of embarrassed by it. Right. So unfortunately through work, she can't make training on Monday, but she'll be at training tomorrow, and no doubt she'll just knuckle down and just work on getting better and better.
Yeah, Matt and Afia scored 10 once against Leeds, and I thought at one point it would be a repeat. But like you say, that natural rugby player, fantastic finish, pace to burn, and she's a real sort of weapon in your armoury. You have got other weapons in that armoury as well, but they can only sort of fire when you've got your forwards going forward. And I thought, your pack rampaging all afternoon. Darcy Price, Yasmin Parton, Sonna Mayer in particular were a real sort of danger.
Yeah, so I think every decent rugby league team needs a player that's got a TLA, a 3-letter acronym as a name. So Roger Survas, Sheck, one. We've got YPS. and I just thought they were great, and we've worked really hard on making sure our middles have got, keep the standards up, and making sure our line speed's good, and making sure our working contact's good. And I think I remember saying after the Wigan St Pat's game that manifests itself in field position, and exactly the same here. I don't remember us defending our line that often, and I just remember us making plenty of meters. I'll say nothing different to you guys than I do to the players, in that our intensity in defence has got to continue to ramp up. I think let's absolutely no disrespect to Fev, to the Lionesses. They did come at us to a point, and I think we just managed to get a roll on. But I think other sides might try and play at us through the middles with perhaps a little bit more intensity. And some of those one collisions that we kind of got on Sunday probably won't come as easy against if we were to play Wigan again, for example, or Wakefield or whatever. So we need to keep working to make sure that I want us to be in contact, pushing St Helens. I'm not kind of aiming too high with that. I think that's genuinely an opportunity, and I think that'll win games for us. I look at what Saints do as a women's team, and I think they're unbelievable at it. You see them blitz sides, but you also don't see them concede many points at all, and that comes through the contact work. And knowing a couple of their players, kind of through my own kind of background in rugby league, I know that they work really hard on that. They're forever doing wrestle, working on the peel. Swimming is something that people might have heard of, looking at how you kind of get your arms into the right positions, take control of someone's body. They do it every single session, week after week after week after week. And now you look at where they are. And we've kind of taken the same philosophy with the Salford team, really, that we want to be really good at that. We see that as an opportunity, and we think that will win us games. And so far, it's kind of paying dividends. But a lot of that comes from the work that our middles do. You don't ask a winger to be as strong in contact as you do a prop. They're not going to be in that situation as often. So that's pretty much entirely focused around them as a group, really. And I thought they did it well on Sunday, but I want them to push on, and I want them to continue to get better at that.
So you've got your backs scoring tries, you've got your forwards rolling forwards, you've got sort of your pivots as well, Tanzing, Karan, and Louise Fellingham and Demi Jones distributing the ball, keeping the ball moving, and it was a joy to see.
Yeah. So again, talking about playing with your heads up, so I've got a favourite try in that, and I don't know whether it was Lucy's 5th or Lucy's 6th, but we set through Vic to a right edge, but it's a bit wider than we normally would. So Louise, who's at kind of a pivot on that side, goes to the other side of the play of the ball because she's going to link up with Demi, because that's the structure we've put in place. But as she's doing that, you see it quite nicely on the kind of the ref cam, if you like. She kind of clocks that some defenders on the right hand side haven't numbered up right, and she sees space there. So she then drifts. She goes from moving from the right hand side of the play of the ball, moving over to the left to link up with Demi. But then she goes back round to the right, and immediately what you see with no communication is you see you see the second row drop to run a lead. You see Lucy read it and follow her to make sure that she comes out the back of that kind of block, and then they execute it, and Lucy walks over untouched. And I think if your halves aren't doing that sort of stuff and aren't capable of playing with your heads up, then our structures just don't work. So I was absolutely buzzing off that. If you watched, I can't remember which St Helens game it was, but Johnny Lomax was stood at the screen with Sky Sports, and he talked about exactly the same. I think he kicked, and I think Wellesby scored off it, off the top of my head. But he talked through exactly the same, spotting that they've not quite numbered up right, spotting that there's an opportunity there, and just being prepared to play at it. And I think there's two sides to that. So Louise has got to have the skills and the ability to do it, but we've got to also have the shackles off her. And we can't be saying no, you must get round and you must link up with Demi. We want you to recognise that situation. We want you to try and exploit it. And if that doesn't come off, then fine. We'll go again the week after. We won't be stood there screaming and shouting about it. So it's nice to see those things kind of come off the training pitch and jump onto the field, really.
Yeah, obviously looking back at the game, you scored 2 tries in kind of 3 minutes. Olivia Meyer went over, and then Steph Gray kind of caught the ball from kickoff and ran 60 yards. And that kind of, it's a good sign that, in it, that a team can go back-to-back scores.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've said to you before that we need Steph to pin her ears back and just back herself and go. And that once she gets a first, she'll get a few more. And she did that twice in that game. So off that kick, spots a gap and off she goes, and she's not going to be caught. And then equally, I think Louise picks up a ball that's hit the deck. I can't remember how. She gives it to Steph. Steph kind of just gets around everybody. And I don't know whether, I've not watched the video back yet, but she ran within a couple of metres of us, and I was just stood next to her going, pin your ears back, pin your ears back, pin your ears back, pin your ears back. And she was laughing at me as she was running past me, because she's probably sick of hearing it, but really nice to see her do it. Even before that, so there's a break that we play to the left-hand side, and Liv gets put in space, and she sits someone down, actually. She puts some bumpers up, and she knocks a defender off. Then she steps a couple, and then she gives it to Ness, who pings a cut-out ball then to Steph, who gets held up a metre short, but right on the right edge. So that, again, is it's all broken down. We don't need a structure there. We've got kind of defenders everywhere that we can pick off, isolate, beat, and we nearly score off it. And that was just before the first try, and then obviously the second try followed soon after. So all game we were allowed to kind of play with our heads up and play what we saw, and we executed that really well. So all really pleasing, really.
Yeah, on the podcast, we've got a sort of podcast bingo, and we have it's GPI, which is gameplay intelligence. It seems to me that your ladies have high levels of that.
Yeah, gameplay intelligence. So I think so. I think let's not get carried away with it.
No.
And the opposition suited us. Can we play that game every week? Probably not. If we're in an arm wrestle, there's probably times where that gameplay intelligence actually says that, no, do you know what? The right thing we can do here is just lock up and just turn the ball over on their line, and we might not score points, but we're 5 up and there's 10 minutes to go. 5 up, 6 up and there's 10 minutes to go, and we'll grind it out. And I think our girls haven't been in that position yet. So there's plenty of different situations that as a group they've not faced. You look at said against Pat's game that sometimes you don't learn that much off a 42-0 win. Off an 8-0 win, you learn that your attack's definitely clicking.
Yeah.
But you've probably not been tested. We've not had to defend our line for long spells. We've not really had to manage the game. If we've tried something and it's not come off, it's 8-0 anyway. I think you're definitely right. They're definitely playing with their heads up. They're definitely kind of playing an expansive brand, and they're definitely executing it well. But there are different sides to that kind of GPI, and maybe we'll comment later in the season as to whether we've got it across the board or whether we've just got it in pockets.
Yeah. We talked about Demi Jones, 12 goals in 14 attempts, radar-like accuracy, picking them over from everywhere.
Oh, she's a machine, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she was raging with herself after she missed 2.
Yeah.
It tells you everything you need to know. She's a really fierce competitor. And she worked really hard on a kick in, and delighted to see all that hard work pay dividends for her on Sunday. Fair play to her.
Yeah, no game this week. Unfortunately, Swinton Lions have decided not to take you on. I think they're a bit afraid of what might have come their way. But obviously, a week to sort of recharge, train, and develop.
Yeah, definitely. So your words, not mine, with regards to Swinton.
Yeah.
But I think Swinton are a development side, aren't they? So they're, as coaches, they're going to be looking at what they need to do right by their girls. And I genuinely don't know if they don't have a team, or if they've kind of looked at that and thought, is that right for us? I genuinely don't know. But they'll just be doing their job as coaches, really. I think for us, it allows us to do another little mini week of pre-season. So it means that we can change our focus a little bit tomorrow. Depending on how sore bodies are, we can probably do some fitness tomorrow and keep kind of pushing to get up to that intensity that I think we still need to hit. Certainly around our middle core. I think Monday we can do some more contact stuff, which I've talked about how important that is. Now I want to top up on that all the time. And it means that we change our training tactics a little bit, and we get out of that kind of regular drumbeat of Monday recovery, Wednesday game prep, Sunday game, rinse, repeat. But really that just keeps the girls fresh and allows us to keep topping up on stuff. So I'm okay with that. It's worth saying actually that in terms of hunger and in terms of fitness, and it's not just us banging that drum. So I think there were 7 that rocked up Monday, the day after a game, most of whom had played, who were doing extras before we trained. And I can't tell you how excited I was to see that, because you've just won 8-0. You've got every right to have potentially a week off, or I think we'd all forgive them for saying, well, we played yesterday, we won, everything's going okay, we're going to slacken off. But they're out on the all-weather early, grafting, doing penalty box runs. It's absolutely incredible. I'm proud of them for that. Yeah,
final question, Chris. You've played 2 League One sides, played 2 Super League sides so far. Where do you think this team is?
What a question that is. So, where do I think this team is? I think this team is well above where I think we should be. I think we've got to enjoy that for what it is right now. And I don't know where the ceiling is. So, I think one day there'll be a game where we'll walk away from it going, do you know what? We couldn't have played any better. We couldn't have tried any more, but we've been beaten by a better side. And we've not hit that yet. And I don't know what side will do that to us. I think there's a couple in the Championship to worry about. Alton Raiders being one of them. So they've had a couple of good results. Turned Cass over in the Challenge Cup on the weekend, and they're in our league this year. So they're clearly a good side. They'll fancy the chances, and by all accounts, they're physical as well. So it'd be good to see how that pack that we talked about in this fronts up there. So I'm not really sure I can answer that. I think all I can say now is that we're delighted to be well ahead of where I think if we'd have sat down 4 months ago, we'd have said we might be. But I think we'd be kind of remiss to not say, well, actually, there's reasons for that, and those reasons are hard work and dedication. And if we keep doing that, we've got a talented group. Who knows where the ceiling is?
Brilliant. Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, pal.
So that was Chris Bates talking to me after the game at Parkhead, and he said, obviously, if come up to Featherstone with all the gear, looking professional, and he thought that was an effect going into the game that they'd won it before a ball was kicked.
Yeah, it does. It does make a difference, doesn't it? I've watched the sort of the academy from when that first started years ago in the 90s or whatever. And other teams had come down to the Willows and they'd all be there in the full kit, just looking like the first team would, all with a bag with, St. Helens on the side or whatever. They'd all have their own individual. And we'd turn up with plastic carrier bags from Tesco and, the lads coming in their own gear. It does make a difference. It makes you feel more part, as a team as well. And they do look good. I mean, even up to the last few years, we've always wore our reserves or academy have wore the year before's first team shirt or whatever, hand-me-downs. Now the whole lot's uniformed. Looks like a professional outfit. And it would have an effect when you turned up. You see them, turn all together in the same gear. And obviously at the moment, all turning up smiling. And that scares you. Because when a team's happy, things are going well for them. And I suppose there is a psychological edge to it all.
Yeah, he talks about playing heads up rugby, Paul, and he kind of, for me, we've spoke to Paul Rowley, and he kind of talks about that as well. And it's kind of, I wonder if he's kind of trying to mirror the men's team and play the same way and kind of create a kind of culture within the club that we all play the same.
Yeah, I think you've got to give the coaching staff of the ladies team an awful lot of credit. I mean, Parky was just saying there about the confidence that they're playing with, and I didn't see the game on Sunday, but I can just see from what he's saying and what I've read up to now that the ladies, we said they were going to get better the more games they played together, and you can see that. You can see that with the results and performances. But I think you both said the word professionalism, and that's down to the way you're training and down to the way you're being coached. So I think they deserve a massive, pat on the back for getting these ladies super fit for a kick-off. Because they've probably been training or doing sport before they started playing rugby league for Salford ladies, but they must have got them into a good shape of fitness, because to score 80 points in an 80-minute match is pretty difficult to do anyway. So to go away from home and do that, it sounds like they've absolutely torn Featherstone to shreds. So I think what you can find now is, fitness is good. They're getting some good coaching. They're playing the game the right way. And they're also playing with confidence now. And confidence, as we've seen before, once you get that confidence and that smile, you're on momentum then. You're like a train rolling. And I think that's what the ladies are now. They're going to be hard to stop. So the more games that they play, the better it's going to be. But as we keep saying every week, you can't wait to get that league journey in front of them now, because when you get that fixture list, that is a map. That is your journey from A to B, where you're going. And I bet they're so excited for that. No, it's great playing cup games and friendly games. Once you get that league, that's a mission. That is your mission then, and it's Mission Super League, isn't it, for those ladies? So I think it's a great story, and they keep sort of proving me wrong. I thought it's going to be tough there, Featherstone. I was thinking the old Post Office Road. It's going to be difficult there, bit of a sloping pitch and a bent referee, but nah, they've done the business again, haven't they? 18-0, so easy peasy.
Yeah, what excited him the most, Parky, was in his post-match press chat with me. He said that 7 of them were doing extras on the Monday, which shows sort of really good mentality that they've gone and won 18-0, but they're still willing to go in and work and graft, which is unbelievable. And also, we talked about where the ceiling is, and he wasn't 100% sure where it is at the moment, because at the moment they played 2 League One teams and 2 Super League sides. They haven't played a Championship side yet, and he kind of talked about sort of the learning experience where we will come across a team that will test us and put us in a contest that we aren't used to playing. So it's going to be fascinating to see when they do start this league campaign, which we'll talk about in the news, how they react to teams who are as good or better than them.
Yeah, absolutely. You only ever really you want to play against the best, don't you? To test well, just going back to what you were saying about the girls putting that, the extra training in. I mean, they've all got jobs, or studies or whatever else. They're not professional. You know what I mean? They're giving up their own time again, so they're finishing whatever they've done to go and do that. I mean, that just shows what they want to do and the levels that they're at. Going forward into a league campaign, it is going to be tougher. These teams have obviously again all played together. They know each other, but as I said last week, I don't think these girls have got anything to be afraid of. I honestly don't. Maybe if they were playing Saints and Leeds and Cass, the top Super League teams, then it might be a little bit different. But as it is at the moment, from what I've seen, it's not just the fact that they're winning games, it's how they win.
Yeah.
It's the way they play. There's just something about them. It is like watching a juggernaut at the moment. Yes, at some point it will come to a halt. Somebody will turn them over. And that's sport. You can be the best team in the world, but at some point you will get beat. I mean, Saints went to Toulouse the other week, and look what happened there. It happens, and it will happen. But it's how they bounce back. And I think at the moment we're in a good place. We've had this build-up of friendlies and cup games, and success builds success, doesn't it? Big success, and that's where we're at. And I think going into a league season, we can be rightfully confident that, within a very short space of time, we'll be making big strides and hopefully big leagues. Yeah.
Looking at the stats, Paul, top tackler Steph Gray with 12, Lauren Ellison with 11, Taz Coran with 11, Vicky Kinney with 9, and YSP with 9. So forwards making an awful lot of work there. They seemed, Featherstone, because Steph Gray's a centre and Lauren Ellison is a winger. So I think that Featherstone tried to take us on the outside because we were a bit afraid of our forwards. And, they got through an awful lot of work. Steph Gray went and scored 2 tries from sort of 80 metres as well. So there was a lot of work on that side of the field by the ladies.
Yeah, but they probably didn't have a lot of tackling to do if they scored 80 points, because they probably had a lot of ball, didn't they? So probably limited Featherstone's at that ball that they've had. But no, it's a great effort, that. And to nil anybody as well is a good effort, isn't it? And like I said before, away from home, new team as well. And no, things seem to be going great, don't they? And they will get tested. There's no doubt about that. You're going to get pushed up against somebody who's going to be better than you. And that's, like Park said, that's how sport works. But, as long as they can keep picking up wins and playing rugby league the right way and learning all the time, and that what he said about them going and doing extra training, that to me just shows the attitude of those ladies. They want this. They want to get to this Super League. And you look at now, they must watch that now and think it's covered on Sky, it's in the League Express, it gets an awful lot of coverage now, it's on the website, it's on the internet, so it's growing all the time, the women's game. So if you're a young woman or even an older woman or whatever, and you're playing for Salford, you want to be part of that. you want to be part of that limelight. I mean, it's a great opportunity, a great chance for you now. So yeah, I'm not surprised they're coming in doing extra training because they're obviously getting on with the coaching staff. It's obviously a great atmosphere down there, and I think when you're part of a team, like it's the same when you're part of the men's team, you're with people that you get along with. You're in like a family there. It must be a great time. It's not a career that lasts forever, but I bet it's a great laugh and a great camaraderie and that. And it's something I wish I was part of. It's better than going to work every day, isn't it? So, but like you said as well, these girls are working and studying. They're not full-time pros, so the amount of time and effort they're putting in, it's absolutely commendable.
Yeah. Looking at the carriers, Parker, Abby Collins with 10, Darcy Price with 9, YSP with 6, Vanessa Hadley with 6, Lucy Mckeown with 7, and Demi Jones with 6. Kind of shows how much work they got through Abby Collins and Darcy Price and Vanessa Hadley, rolling down the middle, causing all kinds of chaos.
You just say Lucy Mckeown had 7 carries and scored.
According to this, yeah.
So for every carry, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever been done, has it? Surely.
No.
No.
And I think
watching the game, you could see that the meters we made going forward, absolutely. And you were saying about the defence. Fev had some big girls there who took some stopping. But what we did, rather than isolating one on one, 2 or 3 went in and knocked them over and pushed them back. And then they didn't want the ball after that. They were like, well, what's the point of this? And probably went wide because of that. The ball just had to go somewhere. Going forward, we just looked like we could break at any time. I think I can't remember who it was now. It may have been, I can't remember. One of the girls anyway went on a run. One of our forwards. She must have knocked about 5 of them off, one after the other, just bouncing them off. And then, got tackled, we got up and played the ball quick, and they were all over the place. They had no chance. And we just went off and scored. Again, just our pure, strength and grit and wanting to do that. Just a brilliant to watch. But yeah, the carries again. I suppose it's hard to judge when you carry the ball and like somebody like Lucy there who's done, 7 carries and scored 7 tries. It's hard to judge how much work's been done and and anything else, but tremendous, really, isn't it? I mean, you look at them in the tackling when you said that the top tackler was 12 or something like that.
Yeah,
it shared about it wasn't about one person doing one thing, as we find with the first team, with the men's team, where it's who's going to come out and attack stats every week. It's a different thing, and that team Bond and Paul mentioned there again about. It must be a great joy. That's what comes across. They enjoy each other's company. They enjoy being on the same team as each other. And that's a massive plus for any team.
And it gives you that extra 1%, doesn't it, when you enjoy it? And in games down the line, when you're in the trenches, that's that 1% makes all the difference. And, we're super excited about it. They're on fire at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of what happens in the next weeks and months to come. So congratulations, ladies, on your victory in the League Cup. No game this week. Swinton aren't available, so week off. And I think Chris has got plans to get you like a mini pre-season. So hope you enjoy that next week and get ready for the league campaign, which starts the week after. So that's all the chat for the 2 games this week, and we're going to look at all the big news coming out of the club. This week. So we'll continue with the ladies, Paul, and the fixtures for their season have been announced tonight. In their division, they've got Alton Raiderettes, Warrington Lunars, Dewsbury Moor, Hull KR, Stanley, Hull FC and Widnes. Now, we are learning about Women's Rugby League all the time, and I've kind of been informed that Alton, Warrington, Hull KR and Hull FC are the big tests for our girls.
Who's the other team as well?
Who?
How many teams did you mention there then? Is that the league? Is that the championship that?
It's kind of the championship, yeah. There's 8 teams in it.
8 teams. Yeah, that will be a test. And like we said before, a lot of those teams have been going for a while now, aren't they? They're quite established. They've probably got settled sides as well, so they know the ins and outs. They know how a season goes, and seasons are tough, aren't they? You're not just playing. You've got to back up week in, week out, haven't you now? And there'll be a lot on that. So I'm sure they'll do a good job. Though they proved that they played a Super League side a few weeks ago, didn't they, in Wigan, and ran them pretty close. And they've not been overawed. I think that's the thing. We played Swinton, and it was a great win. And then after that, they could have been forgiven for, perhaps being punished and being beaten because they were a new team. But they haven't been. They've done the business and wipe the floor with teams, really, to without being disrespectful. So no, I don't think there's anything to fear there for the ladies going forward into the championship. It's going to be tough because they're all going for the same goal, to get promotion and things like that. So it's going to be tough week in, week out, but I have every confidence in them. It's going to be a new experience, playing home and away and going to grounds that they've not played at before. But I think the coaching staff will have them in for pre-season, won't they, and have them doing different things, and they'll be prepared. There'll be no stone unturned going into that championship season. You can rely on the coaching staff to sort them out. Yeah,
you can find the fixtures on the club's website and on the Facebook and the Twitter. They've got a link to it as well. Parky, obviously, we're looking at these teams. I know that Hull KR beat Wakefield in last week, and we beat Wakefield, I think it was the week before. Which kind of gives you an idea of how good Hull KR are. And Alton beat Castleford, who are a Super League side, the week before, I think, as well. So they're the two that I think are going to be the main standouts. But like Paul said, it's going to be a tough competition, but we're going in firing, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think the two old sides, the advantage a lot of these places will have, as when you get to the Super League as well, is not only have you got a professional club with the girls, but there's an amateur scene. Or in Hull, there's a few ladies amateur games and so on. I'm not sure it's the same in that area, fortunately. We struggle in the men's game around here, so I'm not sure what the situation is at the moment. So they'll have more, a bigger pool of players perhaps to attract going forward. The old thing up Castleford's quite surprising because Castle are a really good team. But overall, like I say, we're going to learn. We're going to find more and more. But it's, as I've said, I don't think the girls are going to be worried about it. I think the more they work together, the more they bond, the better they're going to get. And we've seen already that they can compete with good teams and established teams. So that can easily continue. It's going to be tougher, doing it week in, week out again in the league. But I've got every faith in them now. I think they'll be fine, and I hope the club continue to support them as they should, get behind them. And I know Paul King he's massively keen, massively. He's a huge advocate for him, and we'll do all he can to push the ladies into the limelight. Let's get them whoever we play at the AJ Bell. Get a crowd behind us. Let's intimidate teams. It's very rare we get the chance to do that as fans of Salford, isn't it? So I think that'd be great to see us, pre-match or post-match or whatever from a first team game. Let's get them in the limelight now. Let's show what they can do.
Yep. Other news. Let's talk about Fred Doan. Paul, he was on the Super League podcast this week, and he was talking about buying the club, and now he'd be looking at getting the best in the Pep Guardiola of rugby league, I think he said, and sort of turns it into a super club. What is your thought process on that?
Well, it was a nothing story, mate. He didn't say anything. Someone asked him a question, and I don't know. I just think there's nothing in it, really. If he's going to buy Salford, I think he would buy now. And if he wants to buy him, let him buy him. But I'm not really bothered what he does, mate. To be honest with you, I think we're doing all right at the moment. Yeah, he's got loads of money. We had supposedly loads of money when Marwan Kukas took over. He didn't get us anywhere, did it? So I think we're going all right at the moment. I don't think we need anybody interfering, and I just didn't think it was anything. It was just the question that got asked to him, and he didn't say yes or no, and not bothered really, to be honest.
He did have a Marwan sort of sound about him, Parky, when he started talking about buying the Pep Guardiola Rugby League and to turn us into a team, like a world-beating team in 5 years. But for me, we're doing all right at the moment. The community sort of style club. Yeah, we would like a bit more investment, but if people are going to come in, they need to be sort of right for the environment.
If you take away some of the performances that we've seen from the first team this year, this is the best this club's been run, possibly ever. We haven't got, we haven't got a receptacle to go in, if you know what I mean. There isn't any money, but at the end of the day, the club's in a better position and a happier position than it's ever been. The thing with Fred Doan or any mega rich businessman, and it's very rare to find a Simon Moran kind of character at Warrington, very, very rare, is that there has to be something in it for them. Now, Fred's a Rugby League fan, really. I know what he says about being a Salford lad and all that. He's not. He's out for money. Let's not. I'm not having a go at him for that. That's fine. I wish I was in his position. I wish I had what he's created. Fair play to anybody who earns the money. But he's not interested in Salford Rugby League Club. And if he was, there would have to be, like I say, something in it that he could have as an investment. Now, buying a sports club is not an investment at any level. It will take money out of your pocket and leave you broke if it has to. The only thing that would have been is a stadium, I think. Now, whether moving grounds gives that option, I don't know. Whether he could, come in and buy more lane, let's say, if we moved, put the money into that land then belongs to him rather than Salford Rugby League Club, but he puts that money into Salford Rugby League Club. I could see that. But anything else, there's nothing in it for him. There's no reason. I read the interview, and I remember years ago when he was part of the Red Knights that were going to go in and buy United when before the Glazers went in, and he didn't do that. I mean, that's his big love. That and obviously horse racing, but that's kind of goes with. And he didn't bother with that. He didn't go with it. He could have bought it for virtually, for peanuts at the time, I think. And look what could have been, but not now. He's a wealthy man. He's got everything he needs. Why does he need the hassle of running or having anything to do with the Rugby League Club? And there is a side issue which I believe is an issue. His company sponsors the Rugby League in general, in Super League. I'm not sure how that involvement with one individual club also is allowed by the rules. So something else that'd have to be looked into, because I know the Super League wouldn't want him saying, well, all right, I'll pull my money out of Super League and I'll just put it into Salford, So tough one. But I mean, I'd love it. A Salford guy at the top, hopefully, with the money that he'd got. But I don't see it happening. And like Paul said, it's probably just a nothing story.
Yeah. So let's have a bit of good news now, Paul. Nathan Taylor, our winger come fullback for the reserves, has been picked for the England university team who are taking on the Great Britain teachers. I spoke to him this afternoon. We've part of a pop-up podcast where he talked about his career and his journey in rugby league and how he got to Salford and how excited he is about sort of representing England again. I think it's fantastic. Obviously, opportunity club gives opportunity, and now he's playing at international level.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and he sounds an exciting player as well, doesn't it? And again, it's another good news story for the club. I mean, I'd rather us have stories on that than multimillionaires talking about us. So let's stay in the news for the right reasons, and let's keep building what we're building and stay in the real world. So I think that's great news, and it just shows you the good stuff what's going on and the talent that we've got there. We've got a bit of talent there now, coming through at the various levels, and the college team had a cracking win as well as doing them in the amateur report, which you'll be aware. So they've had a good result. So things are going well at that level, and to represent your country at any sort of thing, university levels are a really good level there. And let's hope this lad's got his sights set on progressing in the sport, because it'd be great to see somebody like that come through and be able to go on that pathway and that journey and make it to the first team. That'd be fantastic. That, I mean, it's a long way off yet, but I can't wait till we start seeing that. And we've got the building blocks in place now. Are we getting them in place to get that pathway from junior rugby league right through to your first team?
Yeah, Park, he talks about opportunity and the journey is on, and like you say, playing for England in this, I think it's a President's Cup, I think it is, Barker. You know, it's a big event, and obviously for him to get in the team playing fullback, you know, it's a big feather in the club's cap for me.
Yeah, I know the other week we mentioned the Welsh lads that have been involved in the Welsh under 6, you know, camp going forward that have joined our reserves. Again, another one now. And this kid, I believe, I mean, from what you were telling me earlier on off air about him, he's from the Wigan area, I believe, and you know, he's obviously slipped through their net somehow or whatever. But it got me thinking. I thought, well, that's how Jake Bibby ended up. I mean, I know he's back at Wigan kind of thing, but that's how he ended up scoring in the grand final. You know, he came through the same way. He was a Wigan lad who went to Wigan but didn't, you know, whatever. They can't keep everybody, can they? Came to us through our academy and then into the first team, and the rest, as you say, is history. This kid's got that chance, and he must be good. I mean, you think of the number of players at that level that they could pick from, and they've selected. I mean, that's a great honour, and like you say, really good for the club, and it proves that the reserve grade thing does work. If you know, I don't fully agree it's being used properly, but it does work. So yeah, he's got his chance now. Let's hope he's took it this evening, and who knows, one day we may be cheering him on a Friday night in Super League.
Yeah. Other news: Folly Lane are running an activity week for 8 to 13-year-olds. It's free for children if you're on school dinners. It's got sporting and craft involved, health, nutrition kind of workshop. It's between the 4th and the 7th of April, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. If you want to get involved in that, it's 0161 211 0208. Paul, obviously it's great. Obviously, Folly, you know, an established amateur club in our area, produced fine rugby league players, and obviously to get involved in this activity week, hopefully a lot of people will go down and sort of make the event great.
That's for our term, is it, Rob?
Yeah.
It'll be our turn. I know when you give the age groups out there, I thought I fancy this myself. 39, I'm a bit too old for it. You know, knock a few numbers off, but no, it sounds good. And you know, again, I think the amateur clubs in and around the Salford area, I think, don't get the credit that they deserve sometimes. The work that they do, the work that, you know, the volunteers do at the club, you know, getting the players ready, getting the teams ready for the games on Sunday. I mean, for these kids, that it's a massive thing in it, playing for your local side when you're a kid. I used to play, you know, a bit of rugby league when I was sort of 8, 9, 10. And it's the highlight of your week, isn't it? And, you know, to be doing that in the community in our term, helping the parents out as well, keeping them out of trouble, you know, keeping them active and that, I think, you know, it's great work that they do. So, you know, hats off to Folly Lane there, and I hope they have a lot of people go down, and I hope they all enjoy themselves and behave themselves as well.
Yeah, so obviously when Folly's full and you're still scratching around looking for sort of places to take your kids, Salford Red Devils Foundation are running one at Eccles College between 8 and 14-year-olds. Same kind of activities, Parker, so you've got options there.
Yeah, it's great to see. I mean, the thing, obviously, with Folly is that not just how good it is they're doing it, but the people who actually run these things are clearly giving up their own time for this. You know, what's in it for them, if you like, and it's the joy of what they do. It's special, very special people who work and, you know, volunteer at amateur rugby league clubs. Very special. They create an atmosphere and something that sticks with you forever once you've been part of that. You know, you meet people, you make friends forever, and things like that. It's such a great thing. Like Paul said there, to, you know, keep people off the street and find them something to do and make sure they're not just sat on a PlayStation all day or anything like that. It's brilliant. And then you've got our foundation, who we mentioned, I don't know how many times, the work they do is phenomenal and doesn't get shouted about Another great thing, I'm sure it'll be well attended. I think these things generally do get good numbers, and the amount of work the club's done with the local schools as well. I think that will now, that uptake will increase because more people are aware of what they do and the fact that it's even there, which is something for years we've never done. So no, fantastic. Keeps them kids busy, doesn't it? And sure, the parents, a couple of hours rest every day.
Yeah. Other news, VX3, Paul are looking to do a new shirt design. They're asking season ticket holders to email them to see if they can put them on the shirt. I think it's exciting. I think it's great. I know you've got a shirt with a load of season ticket holders on it as well. You found it on, was it Bobby Robson's statue? So this might be one for you to have two shirts there.
No, I didn't find it. Someone took it off Bobby Robson's statue, a Hull supporter, and he gave it me. He said, "Here, take this, you naughty Salford supporter." It wasn't me who put it on there. He didn't say. He said it was something a bit stronger than that, but I'm not repeating that on the show. But no, it sounds good. I mean, I sent my name off, and my dad and my mum, because they've got season ticket holders, and our kid sent them off the other night because I don't think they know what the numbers are. I've got the numbers in my drawer, so yeah, it's good. I think it's that T-shirt I've got. It's great. I actually put it on the bed a bit back, and I was reading through all the supporters around it, and you're thinking, oh, I know him. He's my friend on Facebook. I've seen him before. And it's amazing how many people you tot him up, how many people like you sort of know. So, no, I think stuff like that, it's nice for the supporters, isn't it, to get something back like that, and, a bit of nostalgia as well. And that VX3, they do some nice stuff, don't they? And I seen a few people with a blue shirt on Friday night. It was in the away end at Wigan, because my dad sort of nudged me and he went, Paul, I'm not having that. I said, what? He went, that shirt, it's not a Salford shirt. That. I said, well, I know. I said, it's for the Magic weekend. And I said, it's, Selco Builders Warehouse's colours and all that. He's like, no, I'm not having that. So I don't think he'll be getting them. But I did mention to him that you get a nice T-shirt with it. So no, I think they're doing a good job. I think the shirt this season, the home shirt, and the away shirt, they look smart on Friday night, Wigan in that black shirt. So I think that VX3 had done a good job with the kits and that. And I mean, just going back to what you were saying before about the uniforms that the two teams are in, the ladies, the men, the suits that they wear as well. I know VX3 don't do them. I think it's, who does them? I can't remember who it is now. We could have given him a shout as well, couldn't we? It's a suit place. Is it Mark something or other? Darcy, is it Mark's? Yeah. Is it Mark Darcy? Am I right there?
Yeah.
And yeah, hope so. I hope I've got that right. They look absolutely bang on, don't they? Every time we see Paul Rowley in the press conference, he comes in. Most coaches, I mean, I haven't got Wigan's coach, but they look a bit of a scruff, didn't they, when he come in on Friday night? Paul Rowley walks in. He's got his shirt and tie on. He sometimes has his school jumper on as well, and he just looks really, really smart. And it comes in with him as well. Agate.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Kurt.
What's his first name? Kurt. God, it's been a long day, lads. He comes in and he has his suit and tie on as well. I think they look really, really smart. I think it makes it look really, really professional. But yeah, just going back to what you're saying, VX3 have done a really good job. And I'd never really heard of them before, but I've been very impressed with the kit supplies that they've done so far.
Parky, Paul's hoping that the suit supplier turns up at his house with a suit. Did you notice that little plug there?
You need some long trousers for me.
But it's fantastic. I think it's great. Obviously, we'll see what comes out the other end. If you want your name on the shirt, then email the email. Sorry, it's not an email, is it? It's a link. Put your name on the form, and we'll see what comes out the other end. Parky, it'll be great.
Yeah. Again, like Paul said, just using their initiative, aren't they? Keeping themselves in our minds, so you don't forget they're there, and hopefully, you get something back for being a season ticket holder. A bit of a loyalty bonus, if you like. Most of us don't do it for that. That's we do it because we can, but just a nice little bonus for you. So get your details in as soon as.
Yeah. So women's game cancelled against Swinton this week, so no game for them. Other news: Salford Red Devils Foundation Rising Star programme. Paul, Bolton, Stockport, Trafford all kind of involved. 4th of April, Bolton Rugby Club, Year 7, 8 and 9. Stockport, 5th of April, Stockport Rugby Club, Year 7, 8 and 9. And Trafford, the 11th of April, Altrincham and Kersal Rugby Club, Year 7, 8 and 9. Between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Opportunity for sort of kids in that age group to sort of try and get involved in that program. Obviously, a lot of success has come through that program in the last few years, so you're hoping they'll find the next star there.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, and how exciting is that if you're a kid of that age, to be going doing that and getting involved with that. I mean, when you're a kid, you just spend half your time, don't you, either with a football in your hand, or, well, I did anyway, I'm sure you guys did. It's a bit different these days now, I think, innit? But, to get the kids in there, get, like Park said before, get away from that plumbing computers and place. I sound like old fogey now, don't I? But I think that's right. You've got to keep kids active, haven't you? And they'll be excited for that. But before I forget, can I just give you another bit of news? I don't know if you're going to mention it, but I know John Blackburn was mentioning on one of the WhatsApp groups overnight about the walking rugby league that the foundation are running at Eccles College. It's every Tuesday, 7 till 8. So he sent a couple of photographs down to one of the WhatsApp groups. I mean, I don't, without being disrespectful, it's not for older people, but a lot of the lads on the photograph look a bit older than us, sort of in the 50s and 60s and what have you. And I think it's a way of them getting involved in rugby league, walking rugby. There's still a lot of skill in it, I believe, but it looks really, really good. It looks really, really exciting. And he said to me to come down a bit back, so I think he must think I'm a bit of an oldie now as well. So, but no, that's every Tuesday, 7 till 8, Eccles College, walking rugby. So if you fancy that, get involved with it.
I think it's great, Parky. When your legs go, but you've still got your mind, you can go to these kind of things and roll back the years.
Yeah, well.
Glad he said that to you, Parky.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I'm in that. I'll be honest. I'm kind of in that boat. I mean, I'm only 45, but I'm definitely. My legs don't do what I want them to do a lot of the time. But it's all still upstairs. I know.
That's it.
I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I have thought about it. I think I spoke to Alan Bradshaw about it once, about me going down, and I've not done it yet. There's sadly other things taking up my time, but it's something I could do. I mean, I do miss playing rugby, and hopefully once I'm through this period of where I am at the moment, I can get back to doing something like that, because I do miss it. It's more fun than anything, that kind of thing. Hopefully don't take it too seriously. But yeah, no, I wouldn't mind going down and having a go at it. I'll be honest, it's probably about the speed that I'm at these days, and I never, pace was never my thing. So yeah, probably about the right speed now.
To be fair, Parky, I'm the same. My legs, I was never fast, to be fair. But yeah, I think it'd be a cracking day if we go. I'll go down. I might make it a podcast day out. That'd be fun.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, so if you're obviously talking about the Salford Red Devils Foundation Rising Star Programme, if you want to get involved in it, contact kevin.rayner@salfordcc.ac.uk and put your name on there and see you could be the next star coming through. Other news, Castleford at home on the 20th of May. Parkett is the next big future, framing the future event. Obviously very successful, the last one against Leeds, so hopefully there'll be more success this time. 1,300 tickets were given to the schools, and we had a big crowd, so hopefully more of the same.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, hopefully by then the weather is better than it was for the Leeds game. It wasn't awful, that game. Hopefully the sun's been out, and people are more likely to come out and get involved. And the club again will have learned a few little things from last time. I think it went smoothly, but there's obviously going to be some glitch or something they missed or something that didn't happen. We can't complain. I said the other week, I thought them kids really added to the atmosphere the other week. We've had it where it's just been an absolute rabble and noise and whatever else. But but it was all done really professionally, and you know, they got behind the team, and I'm sure they enjoyed it, and they'd all come back because obviously the results are the big thing. But no, a lot of work to go in again. I'm sure the guys behind the scenes and Matt Carr and people like that are ready to pull their hair out. But no, I can't wait. Get a decent crowd in, hopefully a good day, and you never know, another 2 points with the crowd behind us.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a lot of kids from the first time returning, Paul, and obviously they'll be they're trying to get other schools involved, and I think it's great. Obviously, you know, we're a community club, we're engaging the community. Paul Trainee doing a great job to get that interest up and running, and you know, exciting times.
Yeah, certainly. I think we mentioned it a few years ago, didn't we, on the podcast about getting schools involved, and all the club have been trying it, and I think we spoke on here, didn't we, about making that East stand maybe a family stand, and I think it's absolutely perfect for that. You know, that end of the pitch. Let's get as many families and as many school children and, you know, youngsters in there and get them involved, because they did add to the atmosphere. I think it's superb at the atmosphere against Leeds. It was a cracking night, cracking win. And I bet some of those kids, if not all those kids, want to come back and sample it again. And it's, you know, Castleford's another, you know, big game for us. It's quite a way off at the moment, so we've got a few games to play before then. But I'm sure the club and Matt Carr and the people involved in the safeguarding things and all that, they'll have it ironed out, what, you know, bits and bobs that they wanted to change around, and this will be another success. And, you know, I think it's great that they can do that, and as long as we can keep building and the crowds keep slowly creeping up, people will keep coming back, and if they're enjoying it. And I think that night to me was a really enjoyable night. I think the entertainment off the pitch was good as well, and it all added to a good atmosphere. So I'm looking forward to that again.
Yeah. Other news as well: Lance Todd Trophy dinner, 31st of May. Worsley Marriott, Dave Woods, and Adrian Marley comparing it. Paul, a great event. You know, Challenge Cup means a lot to a lot of people. So if you get the chance to go to a Lance Todd Trophy dinner, it can be special.
Yeah, it's a good night. I went a few years ago when who won it? Tony Gigo won it when Catalans played Saints, I think, and he couldn't make it because of one thing or another. I think he'd had a few too many drinks at the cup final, and he couldn't get to the Marriott. But it was a cracking night. I was amazed because I took my dad, and we was in the bar there, and it was like a who's who of rugby league, of all previous like Lance Todd Trophy winners and old players from the sort of 70s, 80s, and a few old players from like the 60s were there as well. So it is a cracking night. You know, you get to rub shoulders with like real legends of the sport. And I remember walking to the bar and I said to my dad, is that Brian Lockwood sat down there, used to play for Ulcar and Cass? And it was, and we was chatting to him. And these guys don't realise how sort of big they were. I mean, I remember chatting to Malcolm Reeler a few years ago, and I was in awe of him. It's like, this guy's one of the best players that's ever played the game. I mean, I know he's a bit of a sod against Salford when he played in his Cass days, but, you know, they are like real legends, aren't they? And I think if you get a chance to go to Lance Todd, it's really good. They always have great entertainment on. Like your compares there, really good. When I went, they had a comedian on as well, and really cracking night. It's well worth the money. And this Lance Todd this time, is this for last year? This, because it'll be before the cup final, so Niall Evans will be there, won't he? Because he won the Lance Todd last year, so I presume Niall will be going, won't he? When's the cup final this year? Is it the end of May?
Well, 31st of May is the dinner, and normally have it after, like a day after, don't they?
Ah, right. So will this be covering 2021 and 2022?
Must be. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh, be a cracking night then, that.
Yeah. So if you're interested in going, contact john.blackburn@salfordcc.ac.uk or ring him on 077 627 32790 and book your tickets. The big news, Parky, which has come out in the last couple of hours, that we've announced another link up with a North American rugby team called Copperheads RLFC. Great. Obviously, we've got link ups all over the world now, so to add the Copperheads to that is a great thing.
A growing family. Florida, South. Brilliant. Yep. That's a place for a training camp. I know we went to Japan years back, which is the same kind of part of the world, I suppose. But No, again, just strength. I know Paul King mentioned it last week at the supporters evening. He didn't tell us who or where, but he did mention that there's a link up coming. Brilliant, more the merrier. You know, we've got Ghana, we've got the States, we've got Wales, we've got Australia. You know, we're covering the world with these link ups. I know that they're actually going into the American League this year, aren't they? The conference take part now, and I mean the American game is growing. It really is growing. If they can just stop fighting amongst themselves like they do, and splitting every couple of years, it'll be a very strong league. And we know how the Americans love the sport, and there's a lot of athletes out there that don't make it at the, you know, perhaps the sport they wanted, whether it be American football or basketball, hockey, whatever their sort of natural sport would be. Rugby league's a great option, and hopefully, we can help contribute to that by doing coaching or whatever else, and helping out like we have in Ghana so far, and see the benefits of it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's. I look forward to their season. It gives me another team to follow.
Yeah, they've got a couple of people to look out for. Jude, I think it's Carry Con, who's a centre. He's their all-time top point scorer, Paul, and Wes Piggins, who's a scrum half, raving about him. So there's talent out there. Obviously, sort of North America, on that side of the world, they're all either ice hockey players or rugby players, aren't they? American footballers, so they're all built to play rugby.
Yeah, they certainly are. Like you said about Ghana, there's natural athletes, isn't there? I suppose. You know, America's a hotbed of sport, isn't it? Really, so, let's have it right. It's a massive country, isn't it? So it's you know, if you can get people involved in the sport and get them enjoying it. I'm surprised rugby league's never took off in America before, because I've tried watching American football on Channel 4 and on Sky, and there's a lot of razzmatazz with it, but it's boring. It's forever stopping, and I don't know how, it's their culture, I suppose, isn't it? But I'm just surprised rugby league isn't right up their street, because it's a collision sport, it's fast paced. So yeah, I mean, it seemed to take off in Toronto, didn't it? I mean, logistically, it didn't happen there, but they were getting decent crowds. They were getting like 6,000 or 7,000 in the championship. So, you know, a decent side there in America would be well supported. And you know, if we can have links with them like Pag said, with training, you know, warm weather training over there once a year, going over there, I think that's fantastic for us. I mean, it'd be nice for us to get a little podcast trip over there, a bit of a scouting mission over to see how these Americans put podcasts together. We can have a little trip to Florida, couldn't we? So no, I think it's another good news story for Salford, in all seriousness. And like you said, we are shredding our name. Our name's going out there, rather than it being Wigan and St Helens and Leeds all the time. No, we've got a bit of publicity. We're getting in the market first and letting people know who we are, because let's have it right. We're a big city. Salford's a big city, a big cosmopolitan city. And, you know, we are the Premier Northwest Greater Manchester Rugby League team. So, you know, let's tell people about it. And I'm dead chuffed with that, and looking forward to seeing how it all pans out. Oh.
So, final bit of news is about us, really. We've joined a website called Ko-fi. It's been recommended to us for a while, and I've decided to bite the bullet and sign us up. Basically, lots of different podcasts use it, and it's a way of you, our listeners, to support us by buying us coffee. Believe it or not, it does cost money to run a podcast, and I've funded that for the last 7 years. From hosting fees, new laptops, and dozens of microphones that have gone through over the years, we just want to give you the best sound quality and content that we can. If you like listening to the podcast, feel free to buy us the odd coffee if you think we've earned it. I can only talk for myself, and I spend hours doing this podcast. It's a labour of love, really, and it's all on my own time, around my family, my 2 kids, and my full-time job. So having Ko-fi in the background will help us continue to grow as a podcast and help maintain equipment and subscriptions, and can help us to continue to grow and help produce great audio for you to enjoy. Anyway, check out on our socials. No obligation. Your support means the world to us. It always is and always will do. And we'll get back to talking about Salford Red Devils now. Yeah.
So that's the end of this podcast this week. Big thanks for tuning in to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify and YouTube. See you next week.
Bye.